my mic. Sorry. Okay. Where is it? Dang it. I'm blowing this, boys.
we are here. We are live. We are excited. Damien is just like finding his mic here.
Are we live? We're live.
We are.
We're live.
On.
Okay. So we got a special day going on. We have Mr. Lucas Arsenault. He's a two-time Canadian Freestyle kitesurfing champion. The dude is absolutely incredible human. He's a park rider. He's very stylish, has tons of power, very genuine, incredible human. And I mean that. He's probably one of the nicest guys. Well, truthfully, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think all Canadians are very, very kind humans. But I would say Lucas is one of those. He's a gem, and we're privileged to be with him today. He's incredibly talented at water sports, and we're excited to kind of share some insight on one, kind of his motivation, his life, but also maybe relating some of these sports to snow or ice that may interest people out there. So Lucas, thank you so much for being on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, we
guys.
We need some tips because apparently it's gonna be below freezing this weekend in Florida. So we need to know like how can we ride in this kind of conditions. But
yeah, we're dropping down over there.
It's supposed to be below freezing. But so yeah, Lucas, tell us like how did water sport started for you?
Yeah, water sports in Canada, it's not like the typical thing, you know. Kind of either play hockey or play in the snow. But yeah, I mean, for me, basically it started, we have a family cottage on the water here in East Coast Canada. And, you know, we've always grew up water skiing behind a boat and just playing in the water in the summer. The season's short, but, you know, always enjoyed the water, the warm season that we have for it's short, but it's fun. And you know, there's not much you can do like where I'm at because of the kind of the way we're located in Canada. There's no like proper waves that come in, so there's no like surf and stuff like that around. But what we saw one day was this like flying object literally passed right in front of our house. Like this is back in 2006 or 7, I think 2006. And we were just completely blown away. And I was pretty young at the time. My brother's 9 years older than me, and he was kind of in that range where it was like perfect for him. So he saw that and he was like, we got to do that. That looks completely insane. It's literally, look, we can do it right in our front yard. So, you know, this guy went by, he bought a house down the road and he was riding. And then my brother obviously went straight up to him and, you know, asked him what it was. And we kind of learned like, this is kiteboarding. And that's kind of how it all started for us. You know, if I back up to the start, my brother got the kite 07, and, you know, there was no YouTube channel like yours and, you know, Gwen's. There was no lessons. There was just, you could probably buy a DVD somewhere. But basically what happened is my brother bought a kite, and 3 buddies, I think they were together. They had one kite and they were just like, let's do this. And they had no idea what conditions to choose, offshore, onshore wind, no idea, like, just anything, like big nose all around, right? It was just so funny. And like day one, they pick a day, it's like blowing 25 knots. And they're like, this must be a good day. And like, obviously it started at the top, right? And I just remember, it was complete disaster. They were flying on the wall, like just flying. I remember one guy his buddy flew into our yard from the water, like just dragged up onto the rocks. And like, so, you know, instantly my mom and everyone kind of portrayed it as a terrible sport. It's just too dangerous. Like, you guys shouldn't do this. This is crazy. But, you know, over time, they stuck with it. They kind of kept going, and they all were wakeboarders a little bit, so it helped. And once they started figuring it out, did something happen here? I just see me now.
Yeah. I was putting you up front and center because it was very engaging. So yeah.
I was like, maybe they're gone. Maybe I'm just talking to myself here.
Maybe you're alone on the show now.
Oh, that's so funny. I love it. Sorry, I didn't mean to screw it up. I was just engaged in your story because that's the learning curve in 2007.
Yeah, learning curve. It was rough, man. But anyway, so at the time I was 10, and my mom just, you know, portrayed it as a terrible sport. Like, definitely don't start. You're not heavy enough. But at 10 years old, I was like, I don't even think I was 100 pounds, maybe, right? And this thing is flying my brother up, who's probably 170. And she's like, you're no chance you're touching that. So it took a while convincing. But anyway, so from that point on, I kind of just, I knew I wanted to do it. Like, I saw it. I was like, this has to be, this is it. Like, I have to try this too. Like, it looks amazing. So I followed him around everywhere he kited, like, honestly pumped his kite, did his lines, set everything up for 3 years, and like got him ready. He'd get home from work, everything's ready to go. Just go out and kite. And I just watch, just so stoked. And at the time I had a trainer kite. They let me get one of those, which was a 2.5 meter little thing, kind of like a foil kite. And I kind of ride on a skimboard in the puddles in the front yard and the storms and stuff like that. So I got a good feeling of the kite and everything, you know, pretty quick, pretty early on. And then down the road, once I finally got heavy enough, I remember they told me, get over 120 pounds and then we'll let you get on the water, get your kite. So 3 years down the road, I went to the gym, ate a ton of food. I was 12 years old, going to the gym, just all psyched up to go kiteboarding. And
awesome.
it worked out. So,
and now to paint a picture, Lucas is a very talented kite surfer. You got to look him up. Here's you can take a look at, make sure to follow him. He's absolutely incredibly talented. He's very humble. Obviously, he did a lot of trips to Brazil and got, you know, very experienced in kite surfing. He got a bunch of sponsors. Who are some of your sponsors right now?
Well, right now it is Cabrina Kiteboarding, which is our official affiliation with you guys, and Decline Wind.
Nice, man. Nice. So go ahead, Gwen.
Yeah, go back to like when how did that happen? How did you go from, you know, learning kiteboarding, you know, riding in Canada to, you know, being picked up by a brand?
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like the easiest thing for sure from Canada, just because the seasons are short and you got to make the most out of it. So when I started, you know, we live on the water, so I got a lot of time for this, you know, the 6 months that I could get out in the water without freezing. I spent literally every day out there. I remember literally not booking a haircut appointment because I did not want to miss a wind session. Like, because when you're 13 years old, you don't weigh much. Literally, like, a breeze can come up without a forecast. Like, you know how it happens, like a front comes in and then there's wind and there was not on the forecast, right? So this happened all the time. If you're there and you can walk out. So I just made myself available at all times. I would not leave the property for the first few years. So then, you know, kind of went through high school and just kiting at home, learning, watching YouTube videos. At the time, I would watch like Aaron and Ruben, Kevin, Yuri, Damien as well. So I'd learn all these tricks and kind of just watch YouTube videos and see, like, I wanted to do these things, right? So I kind of took my inspiration online at the time. I was learning and spending as much time as I could in the water. And, you know, we'd probably go on one family vacation a winter too. So I'd get like a week in January or February where I could get back on the water and like just keep things alive. Maybe sometimes we'd get out twice, which was awesome. So yeah, from that point on, I was doing all the local competitions around here. There's still a pretty good kite scene out here. Once I got to know the crew, like 40 minutes from my house, there's a pretty popular spot. And on the other provinces, there's a lot more kiters. So growing up kiting, I did all the local competitions and did kind of like the grassroots stuff first.
Which is where?
Well, there was some competitions in the Maritime, like Shippagan was a very popular kite place because back then there was a World Tour stop in 2009, I think. And this is right around the time I started kiting in 2010, right? So Shippagan already had a developed kite community. I remember I did my first contest there. And then I went to the Magdalen Islands, which was another really developed place for kiting. There was a good contest there. So I did a couple of years of that one. So I kind of like started really grassroots. And then we ended up making a competition here at my home spot with like the local crew. So I was doing all of those and kind of just started moving up the ranks with that. Then I think when it really started escalating was when I was in grade 12, my last year of high school. I saved up enough money to go to Brazil. And I got permission from my teachers to miss like 3 weeks of school. It was the greatest thing ever. So in November, I headed out to Brazil, the land of wind, where all the freestyle kiteboarders go, right? And that was my first like proper major trip And you go to Brazil in 3 weeks when you're 17 years old. You're just going to learn a ton of tricks, right? And then learn some tricks, finish high school, instantly went to just make myself available to kite all year round, right? But the first thing for me was the big problem in Canada is, yeah, there's good wind, there's good conditions. I come from a really good kiteboarding place, but there's too much of an off season. If I want to keep up with everyone in the market, everyone in the competition industry, I need to ride all year long. I need to be on the water just so I can maintain a certain level, right? Because in the off season, all I do is snow kite, and which we can touch into later. I snow kite, but it's not quite the same as on the water if I'm practicing my freestyle tricks, right? So, so after going to Brazil, I finished high school. I did the whole normal summer thing where I try to do the local competitions. I went to the nationals that year when I finished high school, and I went to Hood River. We did the Bridge of the Gods. I actually won that, which was my first bigger competition win, which I was super stoked about. And in the fall, instead of staying in Canada, what I did is I started teaching kiteboarding in Turks and Caicos. So that was another big step for me, was just getting out of Canada for the winter, getting on the water, sticking on the water, riding every day. So I became a kiteboarding instructor, which was like the most logical way to earn some money and just stay in the industry, right? I actually forgot a little part that's kind of important. When I first went to Brazil, before I was a kiteboarding instructor, I met Evan Networks. We all know Evan. We work with Evan.
Yeah.
And Evan, when I got home from Brazil, I was riding another brand at the time, and I reached out to him, and I said, look, like, I don't really have much going on right now. I'm getting like 50% off kite gear. Do you think there's any possibilities to do anything with Cabrina? And then like the next morning, I had the sales manager, Todd, calling up. I remember Damien even gave me a call early on. You probably don't remember that. But I had Cabrina hop straight in, fully support me from nothing to like, literally from discount kites to like, here's a set of kites, do what you want with it. Here's what we think you should do. And if you can do all these things, there'll be a lot more down the future for you. So of course it was perfect. I was so hyped up. I went on a few trips that spring with my new kites. Damien called me and you said, man, if you can get in a magazine and if you can do an article, you'll get everyone's attention. Like,
this is all false people out there. I called him and was like, dude, you better get your crap together. Everybody's relying on you. No, I'm just kidding. No, Lucas, you're hitting on something really good. I just want to say something real quick, and then I'm going to let you keep rolling.
Yeah.
There's a couple points you nailed that are really important for anybody listening into this, especially new up and coming riders that are looking to become professional or looking to just make a living in it or enjoy the sport or take it to the next level like you did. There's no like road that's like, here you go, this is how you do it and this is how you be a professional, or this is how you do it and you make money in the sport. And Lucas saw this, like myself, like any other athlete out there that tried to make this happen. But I would give a few points that are super important that Lucas tapped. Was Bridge of the Gods was one of the best, and I believe is still going, one of the greatest events as an amateur to be able to go and be seen and potentially be picked up by a brand. So just so you know, that's a really good thing. Immersing yourself in the kite scene like Lucas did, which is going on trips or whatever you need to do, is really important because that gets you involved in meeting the people out there. The other one is
my dog is losing it.
The other one is
one second.
Being a good human like Lucas. He made the effort, reached out to people. He had no clue. There's no rules on how to be a professional and how to be good at something. So you just got to make an effort to see if maybe somebody be interested in sponsoring me or giving me the opportunity to go on a kite trip or go, fly these kites. And Lucas chose a route of, I can work and fly kites, but also maybe, have more time on the water because I'm doing some lessons. But in general, he'll have time to be able to fly the kites, work on some tricks. But I'm only saying this because there's a lot of kids out there that don't really know the direction, and there is no guided direction. The most important thing is don't be afraid to ask. 100%. Don't be afraid to reach out to anybody for sure. Of course, myself, I'm always out to help anybody, but I'm just saying anybody in the industry, reach out, give it a shot. You don't know until you ask. The next one is, always put yourself in the shoes of a sponsor. Like, what is a sponsor looking for? They want a good person, good representative. They want to be on the beach, letting people try your gear, which is their gear, and you're expanding the sport for people. So always look at like not what's best for me, what's best for the person I'm representing, and how can I best represent them. And of course, like Lucas said, magazine articles, videos, all these, instructional things, whatever it may be. But I just wanted to tap on that because I think it's really important for a lot of young kids out there. Don't be afraid to just reach out, give it a shot. Anything is truly possible. And saying this right now as we speak, you got to take a look at the kiteboarder, because our little stud right here, Lucas Arsenault, is on the cover of this magazine, full cover shot, doing what he does because he's an absolutely incredible human. And I look at that going, here's an awesome story how he grew up kiting with his family, and they went through everything wrong, which is what people did when you first learned kiting. Nowadays, it's a little bit different because there are instructors and people out there trying to help you. It's a cool story, but anyhow, go into it. I just wanted to tap on those. I thought it was important.
No, for sure. And I think that's pretty important. Like a lot of people get to the point where it's like a brand is recognizing you, and it's kind of up to the rider to go above and beyond to make it happen. It's not like it'll never be given. It'll never just be like, here you have it.
Well, I also found that like
unless if you're Gwen.
Yeah.
Well, from my experience, like filming with like pro riders, like in that industry, it's not like in other like sports where like if you are a pro rider or like a professional athlete, that's all you do. And it's a small industry with like maybe not like huge budget. If you want to be a pro rider, you have to be helping the brand in different ways than
100%.
just your riding.
Yeah,
exactly. And like that's the thing. There's no agents. There's no massive budget where you just train all day, eat perfectly, and you have your chef at home. There's none of that. It's just yeah. I mean, hey, maybe wing's getting there. It's freaking growing like crazy. Maybe kiting too. Who knows, right? But the reality is you got to make yourself available to the brand to help. Like you literally need to think, here's the brand that's interested in me. How can I make this brand sell more gear? And if I can grow this brand, if I can make them, worth more, if I bring value forward, they're going to repay you in that sense, right? So everything from honestly teaching to videos to the articles to all the little, the content, the competition, it's all part of the package to be a pro kiteboarder. And that's kind of what happened in the beginning is Damien called me, like, you're the first guy to call me after Evan sorted it all out. And I got my gear, and Damien calls me and he says, like, what are you going to do to stand out? Like, what's different? Like, what's different about you? He says, you're going on a trip soon. I was going to Cuba, I remember. And he's like, go out, do an article, do something different. And that way the brand's going to straight up notice that you're serious and you want to do something and you want to grow, right? And then sure enough, me and a buddy, we shot some photos. I published an article in the Stance magazine, which was my first ever article in the magazine, my first photos printed ever, right? And then that's kind of just a funny little story of how it started, but it was really good advice at the time, right? And
and back then it was hard to get stuff published because
there's more competition for sure.
there was that was all there was magazines at the time. There was no social media to a certain extent.
But it was sick to just receive a copy physically and have your photos printed, and I thought that was awesome. And it was kind of the start of something for sure, because I think Cabrina noticed right off the bat I was serious and like, look, this kid's 17 or 18, and you gave him a kite, he did a video, and he did an article on his first trip. No, not a big deal, but it's just something to show that it's starting.
It was more of an effort than a lot of people would do. That's a very good, that's why you stood out. And then full circle here, this is the coolest thing. Everybody listening, this is rad. This is how life works. It's like apply yourself to things. And what we're speaking about here, yes, this is for kids out there that potentially want to make a living in kite surfing or wing foiling or whatever it may be. This is literally a message for life. If you want to do a job, go after it. Like, make the effort, go just attack it, and you will have that opportunity if you really truly believe in it and you go after it. But remember, you're doing this for whatever you're looking to do. Don't always think it's me, I'm entitled, I'm good looking, I'm whatever it is. That's not going to get you very far. It's how I can grow them and help them if you're really interested in that. But the reason why this is a cool first full circle is Lucas took over, became amazing athlete, competed, winning everything, dominating everything, and then obviously made a name for himself, very stylish rider, became a rep in Canada and started selling gear and working in the industry. And then even better, this is the best part about this whole story, is he is literally managing the team and all these athletes and helping them develop. So he's taken what he didn't know, learned throughout it, took in from all these other people, and now he is helping all these up and coming kids and manages the team and does all the social media and stuff like this for these companies. And I just think it's pretty spectacular that, you know, you were just this little, you know, under 100-pound little scrawny Canadian hockey kid that couldn't kiteboard, and now look at where you're at. And look, you know, would you ever thought this would kind of run this path like this, and how spectacular that is?
No, completely not. It's completely a wild journey if you look back and look at it all, right? But yeah, I mean, you know, you're up and yeah, you can't really picture where you're going to go, and there's no moment where you're like, this is exactly what I've seen for sure. Everything's, you know, the people you meet early on, like some kite trips I would have met at a contest. Like the first time I always go to Damien because I've known Damien longer than Gwen, I guess. But when I went to the Jupiter Kite Invasion in 2012 and I saw Damien and John Modica, I met the two guys, and I wasn't riding for Cabrini at the time. And like, if you told me at that point, like one day, you know, John's going to be a chairman of the company,
you'd be running it.
Yeah.
Well, I could have told you that the day I met you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's kind of just a weird circle of things. And yeah, it's been fun to learn all the different ranks. And, you know, I was riding and competing a lot, and then started earning a little bit of money. Just it's always been like enough to get to the next point, It's just been baby steps the whole way through. Right. And then I started repping for Cabrini in Canada, and that also like opens up the doors to a whole other possibility of things. And you learn a whole different skill too, right? So you start having a relationship with all the dealers in Canada, and you're doing demos, you're seen as a different way. You got all this equipment for demo that also you get to play with on the positive side. So not only do I get freestyle gear now, I get all the surfboards, I get all the twin tips, and I get to go play like all the time, right? So it actually like changed a lot, right? Because I was always locked in, focused on park riding and freestyle and competing. But you know, when I became a rep, it kind of changed the way I look at things for sure. And it actually became a lot more fun because there's just more things to do, and there's more opportunities, and kept me busy all the time, right? And then it's been escalating recently as being a team manager, and that's a new role that I'm learning right now, and I'm excited to pass that forward to a lot of people, and hopefully we grow this thing and we have a pretty sweet group of people on the brand, and we keep reaching our way to the top, right? But it's been a wild journey.
Sorry to interrupt. I have two important questions that I really want to get into, Lucas, that I think is going to be fun. One, for anybody out there that's listening in that lives in Canada or lives in a snowy place or is looking to kind of take an adventure, what are the best, if you were to say the top 3 spots in Canada to, let's just go with water, okay, water locations, and then what is the best time of year for Canada for we're talking summertime riding, not snow. We're going to go into the snow after, but let's talk water, because we know you have quite a winter time. But let's go 3 top spots in Canada that you'd recommend for winging or kite surfing, and then what's the best time of year in Canada to do that?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously I have to talk about my home. We have some great spots. I'm from Prince Edward Island it's like a little island kind of hidden on the East Coast. We have a really good variety of conditions on the East Coast Canada, and I think I should speak as East Coast as one spot. Let's just say, we have flat water, we have a variety of waves on my island, but if you drive to Nova Scotia on the East Coast, like on the coast, you'll have full world-class swell coming in lines where you can just go ride. So between like PEI, Nova Scotia, you're going to get flat water, world-class, perfect wind, you're going to get amazing swells, literally like you see in the surf movies. So that to
What's
me,
that time of year?
the time of year, like, it depends how tough you are. I mean, people on the coast go out all winter long, but I would say the best time of year is spring and fall. Summer gets too hot, kind of the wind drops, it just gets too mellow. But if you come in the spring, there's lots of systems moving in, lots of system moving up north. It's a little bit chillier. The water's still cold, but there'll be plenty of good wind, tons of good conditions. And if you come in the fall, it's kind of opposite. The systems start coming up again, but the water's freaking warm. That's one thing people don't know. East Coast Canada has warm water. It's not freezing. You can go out in a shorty wetsuit in like September and survive. But it changes quick, right? There's a lot of changing seasons. But yeah, spring and fall, that's the time of year. Visit the East Coast. It's completely amazing, because within a couple hours, you're going to get a pretty huge range of conditions. I mean, throughout Canada as well, they kite, Toronto, Montreal, there's some good kite spots. But then the next best would be on the West Coast, in my opinion. Obviously, there's Squamish. Squamish is probably the windier spot in Canada. If you want consistency and you want a kite every day, Squamish is going to be on. The difference there is the wind's a thermal. That's not a frontal wind. So literally, if the sun comes up, there's no clouds in the sky, it's going to be windy. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be awesome. I know they're struggling there, so they'll shout out. Hopefully that the spit kind of stays alive and there's some solution out there. But Squamish is definitely on the top spots in Canada, probably the top windiest spot in the end. And then the season's a bit different there. I would say the middle of summer is the best, the warmest part. That's what creates the wind, right? So it's kind of cool. If you want an East Coast adventure, you get to go spring or fall. If you want the best kiting in the summer, Squamish. I think Squamish is good for a long season, like May till September. It's pretty freaking awesome. And then I haven't been on the West Coast, but I know Tofino and those spots are just mind blowing. So
those are the top spots that you'd say.
Stick on the coast
out there,
like kind of like the US. You're gonna get more wind, more waves on the coast. It's more fun, and there's pretty good kite scenes on either side of the country now. Like the sport's growing, more wingers, more kiters, and it's fun to see it evolve and see it grow. So get out in Canada. There's plenty of good kite spots. It's worth coming up for sure.
Now, before we go into the snow kiting and wing, I don't even know what it would be called, snow winging, I don't know, ice winging. Before we get into that, I just want to ask you, because it's just, a topic we always like to share positive, inspirational things with our humans out there and all the people that support us. Thank you so much. Hopefully you're having a great Thursday. But I know, and I just want to tap in this because I think it'd be cool. Tell me, Lucas, how rewarding it is to share these sports, because now you're into ice winging and winging on the water and kite surfing. How rewarding is it to share it with others, and why is it such a privilege? Because I do know that you get to share the time with your pops on the water and your family, and I thought I kind of wanted to dabble into that because I know your dad does some snow kiting, I believe, and I just kind of wanted to hear your take on how cool that is and why families should get involved.
Well, I kind of mentioned it earlier too with my brother. Like my family is into the wind sports. We've all kind of adapted it, and it's been backwards through the most process. Like, usually the dad teaches the sons, and then it kind of goes that way. But it goes the other way around, where we brought my dad to the water. He couldn't swim. We had to go for swimming lessons with him before teaching kiting. And
what?
Literally, yeah. My brother, we went to the pool with him and started with bobs just because he couldn't put his head underwater without freaking out. So anyway, we started, but now he's a full swimmer. He loves to swim, like just
Dad, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine.
But it's changed his life, because like imagine your entire life you're on an island and you can't get into water without a life jacket, right? Like, so these sports, just to say how rewarding it is, it's changed his life. And we spend quality time on the water as a family. My brother, my dad, my sister kites. My mom doesn't kite yet, a little bit. We're trying to get her on the water, but it's awesome. We get to spend time as a family. And like, even myself now, I spend more time in the office, right? With these positions I have with Cabrina. And, I've learned that I value that time on the water so much. And that's what kind of keeps you going, right? That's the whole point of this. That's why we do it. That's why we have fun. So like, you go in the water for an hour and you can handle all day at work, no problem. You could it's kind of like cleans your brain up somehow. You just feel fresh. You feel good. So for me, it's a huge part. I mean, it's necessary to my life. I wouldn't be able to function without getting out, having sessions, whether it's winging, kiting, or whatever sports, you do. But it's kind of like it just cleans your mind up. You forget about all the little things and you just have a good time on the water. And it's been awesome to share that with family. That's the coolest part.
So as we talk, previously, if people are just joining, you went through your incredible, exciting experience learning kiting. So let's go into winging and let's go into on the snow, because we've seen some videos of you ripping around on ice skates, flying across the ice on wings. I mean, what if somebody's like, I'm sitting in the snow right now and I'm listening to this, or I'm sitting in, wherever it may be, and it's freezing and it's flat and it's just snow everywhere, or ice or lakes. What would you say to them?
Well, it's a lot easier than you think it is. Like, man, winging and snow, it's interesting because, I always told people, if I talk about kiting real quick, I say, go learn on the snow, because we're in Canada. There's a huge snow season. Go learn on the snow. And then when you get to the summer, it's going to be easier. So the reason snow is easier is you don't need a minimum speed. Like water, you need to move at a certain speed. Otherwise, you're sinking. You need to be planing. You need to go. But in the snow, I can push you, and we can go at the slowest pace you want, and you're not going to sink. So you're just going to, and it doesn't take that much wind. So I always push people to go kiting. But then when winging came along, and even myself, Cabrina came out, everyone came out with a wing, but not quite the foil and the board yet. Everybody had a wing ready. So I was like, okay, I got this cross wing. I don't have a foil board that I can wing on. I had I only had a sinker, like a 20-liter board. How am I going to freaking get up on a wing in the water, right? So I started on the snow, and it was
Damien
awesome.
Damien tried. On his first
All
time.
those out there, don't do that. That's not good.
It's not easy. I haven't tried it yet. Actually, I tried it one day, and I just didn't go anywhere.
Feel free to try. It's really good for you, Lucas. Feel free. You'll love it.
Either way, I grabbed the wing, and it's like, this is day one on the snow. You pump it up, and what's cool about it is you can learn all your stuff on the snow within an hour, and it'll be a huge progress to help you on the water if you ever want to go to the water. But what's great about the snow, you can just rip on skates with minimal gear. You can rip on skis or a snowboard. I personally do it mostly on skates. When the ice freezes pretty flat, I love to get up on a wing on skates, just because it's kind of the simplest form. And if the snow's good, I still go kiteboarding a lot. I love kiting, and I'll use my snowboard. And what happens in the wing, what's interesting about winging in the snow is that, you don't have a crazy amount of power in the wing like you do in a kite. So like a snowboard, you need it to be pretty windy. You need it to be like as windy as you'd want it on the water, if not more. But when it comes to skis and skates, your feet are free. So you can create that apparent speed. And then as soon as you have apparent wind, you're flying through the ice, right? So, I got my dad on it. I got myself on it. I learned all my jibes and tacks on skates. You can easily turn around. You don't have to balance a foil. You can go as fast as you want. You can practice turning the wing around. So I learned all that prior to getting on the water, which was a huge advantage. And I'd say anyone who's looking to get into winging, if you can ski, you go to or snowboard, you can fully wing. And like the country there's plenty of spots, like any potato field you can go in and just crank up your wing and go, right? Or any ice surface or anything. And like I'd say like probably half of the Canadian population has a pair of skates. Like everyone skates up here, right? So a pair of skates and a wing, it's really simple. There's nothing to it. You just hold on, and if you're going too fast, just let go. And you might rip your wing. But
so now that is your secret, because last summer we were in Hood River and we were all together.
I knew you were going to bring this up.
No, but this is crazy. We decided to go on a downwinder winging, and Lucas, like you were like, a total big. You had been like wing foiling.
I'm a kook. You can say.
No, but you had been winging like once or twice, like in the water, and we were like, let's go on the downwinder. You will be fine. And I'm like, who would be fine going on their first time, like on the downwinder? And we go on the downwinder, and Lucas is like out there winging up on foil, jibing, and I'm like, how is this possible? So now that is your secret, is that you basically like took what you learned from the ice and applied it. 100%.
I did all those turns on the ice before, but it was kind of just, the conditions were good when I first went out with Gwen, and it was super windy. And when it's windy, it all makes it easier, right? So it was pretty an easy transition. But yeah, like on the ice, if you're able to skate, it's so simple. You really understand your wing, your tack, your line. Like you can understand everything like in a matter of half an hour, because you can see, hey, if I pull my backhand a little bit more and goes faster, if I can lean back, I can really push this up deep into the wind, and you kind of learn how far you can push it, how far what's too much, what's not enough, and then you can learn your transition. And what's cool about ice skating is it's even more efficient than foiling. Like foiling's efficient. Like there's no holding back, right? But when you're on ice skates, there's even less. Like you're gliding on any breeze, if there's any wind at all. And the cool part is I can pick up a little bit of speed with my skates, and as soon as I'm moving, I just tighten up the wing and I'm flying on a wing, right? So that was kind of a good introduction, and I recommend honestly anyone in snow, wherever it is, hop on a wing. If you have a pair of skis or if you have a pair of skates, it's safe. It's not, I mean, you can get hurt, don't get me wrong, still, take safety precautions, of course, but it's really safe to hop on your first time. If you have a snowboard too, you're more than, it's going to work, but you're just going to need a bit more wind, because there is a little bit more resistance and your feet are locked up. So you can't start to speed like you can with skis or skates, right? And, honestly, it doesn't take a big area, and there's tons of wind in the winter, and it's cold and
I love this. I mean, Lucas, you're spot on. I grew up a skier. I grew up in Colorado. That's where I was born. I'm 40 years old, so I've been in the water now a while. But I always say to anybody who's listening right now, like who's on the fence and wants to learn how to wing foil or even kite, whatever it may be, I would say wing foil. Let's just speak about wing foil, or if that really engages you and you're sitting right now and you're at your house and you look out your window and it's just snow or ice or lake or whatever, or maybe you have a ski trip planned in next month, get yourself a wing. Literally get yourself a wing. Throw it in your bag. Bring it with you, because you never know. You could be staying at this cabin and it's windy outside, and you throw your skis on and you go try this wing, and
you don't need that much gear. That's the
exactly.
thing.
That's
you
it.
just need a wing, and most people have the skis and the skates already. You're not investing in a board and a foil. You can start with this, and if you're having the slightest bit of fun on the snow, I guarantee you're gonna have more fun.
And Lucas on his second time on the water went to Hood River with Gwen, and they literally went on a downwinder, one of the hardest places like in the world to go on a downwinder wing foiling, and it just shows your time. We always talk about it in our videos, but time with your wing gives you that experience. And I would say the snow or the ice is going to be the easiest way to learn, hands down, other than standing on the beach playing with your wing or standing on the land, because you're learning how to use your wing. But I would say ice skates or skis, like you said, is hands down the best way, because you're going to learn, one, you're going to go doing something, whatever direction, but you're also going to learn how that wind works, how the angles work, how the wing works, and then you can translate it to the water. But I think that's so spot on, Lucas. And, what I love about you, and you said it, which I think, a lot of people are like, oh, I kite surfed and I got into winging and it's taken over. And it's like, it's taking over because it's exciting. It's a new challenge. It's a new skill for you. But I think we all in this group right here, kiting is going to be around. There's nothing like kiting. It's absolutely spectacular. When it's on fire, there's nothing like it. Winging opens up these doors to do things you've never done in places you've never been able to do it. And the accessibility, the ease of it, the safe of it, anybody can try it. Yes, you said, just like I agree, it's dangerous, but within reason. I mean, it's less than if you put a kite up in the middle of the mountains. You could get lofted or taken anywhere, versus a wing, you just let go of it. There's a lot that can grow from that. But I just think anybody that's listening, look, you live once, don't be afraid to give this a go. And the simplest way to give it a go is just get yourself a wing. And if you're sitting in the snow right now, man, it's going to be totally worth it. Your kids will love it. Your wife will love it. Well, she probably won't, because you probably end up buying a bunch of wings and then a bunch of gear. That's a little bit of a negative, but what do you think, Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I was actually thinking about a question for Lucas, as we are getting close to the end here. What is do you have a goal for, as far as like riding, kiting, winging coming up? Is there like something in your mind that, like, maybe it's like a place to go, maybe it's something, being able to do something, I don't know. Do you have a goal right now?
I think the main goal for me is, I'm pretty mobile with my work, and it's all remote, and I think honestly it's just I want to be all year round, like you guys, living somewhere warm and and kiting in the water all year. So my main thing, I love winging, I love surfing, I love kiting, and I think honestly I just want to make sure that my life revolves around it for as long as I'm around, and I can do it all the time as much as possible. That's kind of just my main priority at the moment, is just get on the water. And I'm always driven by progression and learning stuff, right? So yeah,
I thought you were going to take on your modeling career.
So where are you off next?
Next, I have actually next weekend, the 5th and the 6th, we have a demo, Cabrina demo, O2 demo in Montreal. In the snow. It's the first demo in the snow I've ever done. You'll see on Facebook, there's plenty of details. Hit me up if you ever, if you want to know what's going on. But we are doing a snow kite demo. There's going to be kites, there's going to be wings, there's going to be all of it. Definitely that's the next plan. After that, I'll be in the Caribbean for maybe 2 months or so, trying to
nice
enjoy the water and posting some clips and having fun.
I love this. Okay, so as we round down this show, we're going to go into our Patreon, all the supporters out there who support us, and we're grateful for that. But, I just want to capitalize and just kind of go over this last little conversation here. Look, to anybody out there, Lucas said it the best. Get out there, whether you're sitting in a place that's snow or whatever. It just takes an effort to do it. The other thing is just really spectacular. One, I'm just grateful to have Lucas on here, because he went from this young kid who, had a dream to do this stuff, saw it in his front yard, and here he is today in the industry, very successful, very talented, an incredible human, really knowledgeable, doing demos, enjoying the sport. But I love the tenfold that you're actually helping kids right now potentially have the same career or a career in this sport, and giving them opportunities and teaching them the things that you learned, good and bad, in social media, or how to become an athlete, or how to become, working for one of these brands. I think that's just so spectacular to me, because it's like, I think Gwen has said it a million times, and I totally agree with it. But in life, you just like, Gwen asked you that question, what's your goal for the future? Everybody has like a vision of the next direction. But I would say that direction may go like this, may go like this, may go like this, may go like this. And all that you need to do in life, and this is what I believe, is to open your heart up, take that step, take that risk, just say yes, go for it, try something, because you never know where it leads. But if you always are so fixed on that expectation, you may be let down. So don't hold those expectations as like, this is it, and if I don't hit this, my life's gonna end. If you think like that, I think in life you'll be let down a lot. So I think if you can kind of have an open heart and really just look at like, let's see where this takes me, and okay, it's maybe a rainy day, but it was a really fun rainy day, versus looking at things in a really bad way. So but it's really
also something that's very important, and that you touched on like earlier, which was like talking about like how everything happened for you. You said that like one thing led to the other, and I think that's the important part. Is it's not let's say you have like a goal, and it's not like when you reach it, you've made it, that's it, it's done, it's achieved, and that's it. So no, it's always like, maybe you have like a goal that's pretty far, but there is always like small steps along the way. And I think that's the important part to keep in mind, especially for the younger like riders out there that maybe think like, if I win this competition, I will this will be it. Or if I become sponsor, this will be it. The reality is like, it's not. It's like, it's always a bunch of small steps that are like leading you somewhere that you think you have an idea, but in the end it might like lead you to like somewhere totally different. So keeping in mind that like, keeping it step by step, to me, is the key. And it's never going to be one point where like everything boom happened.
Here's a perfect example for everybody out there, just exactly to hit what Gwen said. I was in a movie with Dwayne Johnson, who's the celebrity of all celebrities right now in acting. And I said, I'm going to be the next big actor. But you know what? I'm doing YouTubes right here because I enjoy it and it's okay. And I'm super happy in life. So I'm just saying, you never know what life's going to be like. You never know where it's going to go. Don't be afraid to just give it a go, And
And
I
you
have no
might still
expectations.
be, in a few years, the biggest actor. We don't know, but it's always step by step, and it's never like when I do that, it will be it. It's usually not like that, unless you win the lottery or whatever. But yeah.
Well, everybody make sure to follow Lucas. He's a great human. He's got some great things coming. Make sure to check out his demo coming up in Montreal. And yeah, on that note, anything you want to say to all these incredible humans out there, Lucas?
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm stoked to be finally on the Gwen and Damo show, the world famous. And I'm actually, you guys are crushing it. It's awesome to see what you guys are doing, and I love to see it all grow. You deserve everything that's coming your way. So keep going. I love to watch it, and yeah, it's inspiring for a lot of people.
Well, I know being on the Gwen and Damo show was one of your big goals, and
I made it.
And exactly like what we just said.
We appreciate the 1 hour that you took out of your life to do.
And now it's a
really
it's a big turning point in your life, and things are gonna things are gonna start happening now.
Yeah, it's the starting point. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it, though. Seriously, it was fun.
I love it. On this note, we're going to shoot over to our patron. We have a private live that we go with our patrons for $5 a month, and all the patrons that support us, we really appreciate it. Everybody out there that really is involved in all your comments on the YouTube videos that obviously Gwen is just amazing at. Look, all this helps everybody grow in the sport. That's the whole reason why we do this. We're literally just trying to give people information as best as possible to help them live their best life and bring incredible humans on here like Lucas, who, has made a career out of this and has an incredible career ahead of himself. And I don't even think he realizes it, but I'm just going to go out on a limb that we have a lot more to see from Lucas. So get ready, people. And on that note, we're going to shoot over to our patron. So Lucas, thank you so much. We love you, dude. You're absolutely incredible human. And of course, Gwen, for always being there, making everything happen. So on that note, everybody have a wonderful Thursday.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.